All right, we're gonna go on to our next topic. One of our favorites: agree or disagree.
I was wondering where this was. I was like, "Where's my good old agree or disagree?" I wanted this. I've been waiting.
Like the battle.
Oh, I brought an extra one. I'm sorry, Curtis. I know you're you can't play.
The
man.
Lone Ranger.
The Lone Ranger. Oh man! All right, I hope that we can have some good conversations right now, boys. Curtis, slap those on us. Oh, again, always got to say for audio listeners, thank you for listening. And we're holding up signs: a thumbs up, a thumbs down. Curtis is going to read a statement, and we will let you guys know what we are doing and if we agree or disagree with what statement he tells us. And we have not seen these. Curtis, let's hear it.
Retro games have a bigger impact than modern games.
Retro impact have a bigger impact than modern games.
How far are we going back with
Retro? As big as you want. I'm going to say thumbs up.
Say yes.
Thumbs
up for Rick.
The Wii is trash.
we got a three-peat over here of thumbs up. Why don't you go ahead, Chris? I heard you kind of saying how far back.
I just remember growing up with games. I mean, it was. I mean, honestly, when I was a kid, it was like the Atari was out.
Okay.
You know, and the impact that has had from just people like even being like, "What the heck is this?" You know, to like all the way up to say Nintendo 64. It was just so impactful on our lives, and not that the newer stuff isn't impactful on. The kids' lives, new kids' lives, or younger kids' lives.
Kids on the block.
But I would maybe compare it to like the car coming out. Like if you went from a horse and buggy to all of a sudden having an automobile, a motor, that's like so impactful versus the early 1900s cars to where we are today.
Yep.
Not as impactful. So that I would compare it to that.
What do you think is the most impactful game, Ricky?
What's the most impactful game?
What game do you think is most impactful to...
You want me to do? I think
Sunset Riders. I'm just kidding.
I honestly think one of the most impactful games. I mean, it's not my favorite game. It used to be like one of my top games. GoldenEye, because if you think about it, look at all the games nowadays.
Yep.
Oh.
I mean, truth be told, I'd rather pick Mario or like something like that. Like it like started it. But like when you think, if you go back, you go to GoldenEye, and that's what started Call of Duty. That's what started all these weird shooters. So the way I see it, it's like these retro games actually impacted everything. That's how you got the ideas for all these other things.
I think you're correct in that too, because the first-person shooter genre was so not popularized, even though on PC maybe it was. You have games like Doom, but I feel like that was within a certain community, right? Like the PC community.
Yeah.
But I feel like GoldenEye really did push popularity of like first-person shooter in-house parties, right? Like everybody's in a room playing a first-person shooter game together. I feel like that was really the revolution of that. And I feel like new consoles as well and new gaming technology, of course, is advancing at levels that are crazy. We have VR stuff that can, teach people how to be a doctor and how to do open heart surgery. And I actually have a friend, one of my daughter's friends' dads from school. I was like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" And he's like, "I'm in gaming." And I'm like, "Sweet, what do you do?" He's like, "I run a VR company that is basically like training courses for companies." I don't know what it is, but it could be like how to, whatever, wrestle a horse. I don't know. It could be anything. I don't know why that was my thing, but that's what I went for.
A wrestle a horse.
But with that said, I feel like, the early steps are always, like you said, I think going to be the most impactful. And I think it's like almost like the Beatles. Like it's like people use them as like, even if you don't agree with them or like them or even care about the music, you can't argue the amount of people that are like, "Oh yeah, dude, that changed the way I thought about music."
Yeah,
man,
So,
I really thought you would say Mario Party, just because of the fact that like it has a storyline, you can play with multiple people, and it really is more interactive. You know what I mean? And even Halo, like I would have chose Halo as well, because that storyline on Halo is killer.
It's interesting too, because he's like a 10-year gap, basically, generation from us, so he kind of has the next step up. He's wrong, but we're gonna nod for him.
Well, I was gonna say, I was
just kidding.
All right, we're gonna go on to our next one. Celebrities are just regular people who made it big.
Celebrities are regular people who made it big. Oh, this is an interesting one. I'm gonna say I'm in the middle. But I'm gonna say I disagree. Chris has up and agree. Ricky has up and agree. So do I have to be the one to explain myself?
Yeah, you can go for it. For you first.
I don't know. As I dive into, I've dove into a couple podcasts recently where they kind of talked about a lot. I feel like it's a mixed answer, because there is a lot of regular people who got put into it and were, became big, right? Like they're a regular person, auditioned, I got big. I feel like there is, though, a lot of forceful entry. I something about like Drew Barrymore or something was talking about that happened to her, and like she got pushed into it, and a lot of weird things happened that she didn't want to happen. Judy Garland from Wizard of Oz, a lot of things happened to her. You know, parents kind of pushed them into it. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. That's just me saying there's that weird fine line. But I've said this before, and this is going to be controversy topic 101. I always feel like if a celebrity, maybe when they initially got in, were normal.
Yeah.
But I feel like, how do I say this right? There's a lot of celebrities that are, I know people in LA who have been to a lot of those celebrity things, and they're like, they are not normal.
Yeah,
they're demonic, dare I say.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff. We have a friend, actually, so we used to know him. It was this guy named Richie the Barber. Literally Google him. He literally is a barber.
He's local. He's local.
The other day.
So my friend went to church with him back in the day. He fell out of all that. He became a clown. That's quite literally. Anybody who doesn't know him, he's implants, tattoos. He's an actual clown now. He was cutting hair in Fullerton. We ran into him during an episode in Fullerton. We were filming a video. Talked to him a little there. Recently, I think he got saved, which isn't part of the story. But he was saying, too, that like he went to a couple Hollywood things. And he's like, these are all actors you know. Yeah. They're all the most famous actors you know. And I literally, coming from a guy who's an actual clown, am uncomfortable saying the words of the things they do there. And I was like, that's crazy.
Actually, you can see some of those stories on his YouTube channel. He actually has one.
Yeah, I've seen a couple.
And it's funny because like I see his van all over town.
You've seen his van too?
I just saw it the other day, and I was like, who the heck is this guy? I pulled up right next to it, and I was like, whoa.
You know, he actually cuts like Steve-O from Jack.
Is he like a
Hayward.
famous barber?
Yeah.
Is that what he is?
Yeah.
Okay.
He became a clown. Obviously, that's going to build you some sort of, attention, whatever there's notoriety or you're good. But he got celebrity limelight because of that, and then I guess apparently he became obviously really good at what he does.
He's got very crazy stories. It kind of goes from the dynamic of being reformative and going through some of these like satanic rituals that he's been to in some of these situations, and he's like, it was beyond him. And you listen to his stories, they almost sound fake, but it's like you can see the fear that he had in his eyes, even with that full tattooed face and everything.
You can't cover the fear.
No.
What about you guys?
I mean, my take on it is that they are just regular people. I've never been like starstruck anytime I've met a celebrity. I mean, I know some people are, but anytime I've happened across one or met one, to me, they're just regular people. I'm like, you're just a human being like I am. You have the same fears, you have the same doubts, you have the same uncertainties. Everything about you, yes, people might know who you are more, but I don't feel like they're not just regular people.
Got it.
I'm not sure about the stuff like behind the scenes stuff that goes on.
But, and none of us really are.
No.
None of us actually are, right? We're not there unless I was there and I could literally be like, yes, I saw that.
We're just telling you the recollection of his events. Not ours.
Richie, you want to be on our Actually, I bet I could get him.
Yeah, he is local, like I said.
Let me go down that wormhole another time. We'll see if we can get there.
But that's my take on it.
Yeah.
Just regular people.
Yeah, okay.
And just again have the same stuff we go through.
Ricky?
I think it's the same. Like I always saw like what's his face? Wow, I literally thought of his name and now like, Keanu Reeves. Like I just see him as a normal guy. Like,
well, and some come off so much more regular.
Yeah, exactly. So that's like another thing. Like some are just they're born into it, like Drew Barrymore, but some just seem like they just rolled out of bed like, I made it.
Can we all agree that I think Adam Sandler is probably the most normal?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
He's like at IHOP and like won't take cuts. He's like, no, I'm in line.
Dude was in Lancaster and like In and Out, and people coming up to him, and he's just like, yeah,
I see clips of him on like YouTube where he's like rolling up and kids are filming. They're like, he has no security around him. He just strolled him. He's like, can I have next game? Like, sure. And he's just balling with kids. Like, whatever.
I think I've said it before. My buddy used to play ball with him up in Santa Monica.
Really?
Yeah.
He's actually really good at basketball.
Yeah, he would go down to the courts there, and I think he was traveling in or something, but he would play, whether it was Venice or Santa Monica, he would be down there just playing. Just regular.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow. Okay.
All right, we're going to go on to our next one. Original cartridges are better than CDs-based games.
Absolutely. Thumbs up.
Yes.
Cartridge over CD. Ooh, Mr. Thinker.
No, because I know
there's not a lot of dark games on cartridges.
I was just
yeah.
I think I'm going to agree with it. Yeah, because I was like, dang, Switch is so good, but I'm like, it's a cartridge.
I'm going to go over, not even necessarily, okay, well, so there's two levels. There's the actual games, right? So do you prefer more retro games or newer CD-based? And then the other argument is actual physicality of them, right?
Yeah.
CDs, in the case of CDs, suck. As far as, I mean, you could look at them wrong and they're scratched. Yeah. Cartridges, I used to watch videos of this girl named Rinri Game way back in the early YouTube, early retroware. And she would do these tests where she's literally boiling Super Nintendo games, Genesis, throwing them up in like 100-story buildings, like running them over and like still play. As long as those pins were protected, still good. You know, it's like Cartridge's a little piece of shell of itself. Just like, play, go. CDs? No. If you have a quarter in your pocket and put the CD in there, it's either going to crack, break, or scratch.
And here's the thing. There's also disc rot you have to worry about nowadays.
Oh, disc rot.
You get into disc rot, there's no way to bring that back. When I think of like cartridge, maybe like the one downside, I'd think of like the Game Boy games that require batteries. But even then, all you have to do is replace the battery.
I didn't think about that. Chris suffers with crotch rot.
No way.
All right, what about you, Chris? What do you think?
No, I mean, I love the cartridges the more I think about it for all the reasons you said. The CDs do suck. They're so flimsy. They do crack. They always have issues. Yeah. My biggest thing I was thinking about when we were talking about it is like, how on earth has Nintendo gotten all the info down on the cartridges that they do?
Yep.
And why? I mean, and there's no save batteries in that. So I don't even know how those work or whatever. But
I will firmly say we're very dumb.
I love it.
We're very dumb when it comes to like the technical aspect of like how technology in video games work.
You're talking about how like the game saves in general.
Well, like just the tiny little Switch cartridge.
Like every retro channel is like, you guys run SoCal?
I don't know. I'm just amazed when I play the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and it's on this tiny little thing. It's the most massive game ever.
I would say that most of it is built into the system. Like the motherboard is what carries.
Don't let us feel stupid right now, Curtis.
I just wanted. I don't understand.
I saw a comment the other day. Shout out to the hater out there. It was on the PS2 is overrated video.
Yeah.
These guys know nothing about video games. It's so sad. And I'm like, for sure, triggered PS2 fan. For sure, that's all he heard. Selected hearing. And it was like, these guys suck. All right, what's the next one?
All right, the next one is YouTubers should get real jobs, quote unquote.
Oh, that was huge.
Yeah,
that
Chris,
should have been
get
its own
job,
topic.
Dude.
I'm gonna say that again. YouTubers should get real jobs.
Yep, quote unquote.
Thumbs down.
Ricky?
Yeah, get a real job.
Oh, no!
I mean, it comes down to me because if you can make it just on YouTube, why get a regular job?
Yeah, I'm gonna thumbs down it.
We are in, and not even YouTube isn't obviously specific to America, but we're speaking for ourselves. I'm an America man. Like, I believe in the American dream more than you'll ever understand. Like, I don't care. If you can make it in life and truly make it however you do it, more power to you. I may not agree, right? There's probably certain life choices that people do for a living that I don't agree with, but as long as it's, anything short of sin, as I say, if it's legal and, morally okay, awesome. And I know some YouTubers, and again, YouTube is like this, right? And that's the big critique people get on YouTube. They go, dude, you're just riding the wave. It goes up and down. You could lose your job at any time. No crap. People lose their regular jobs like every day in the world. I'm sure thousands of people lose their regular jobs every day in the world. That's part of life. And if you can make a crap ton of money, there's YouTubers who make no money and have fun. There's YouTubers who make a crap ton of money and have fun. I was at YouTube Summit. I'll just say that. There was people in that room that will make more money in a month than we'll ever make combined. So when they go, oh, well, it'll be out and you'll be out of money, they don't care. They made their life's worth in a year, and they'll be multi-millionaires with that money, with proper investments and all that. So I've never had it. That was a huge conversation, though, years ago. Get a real job to YouTubers. Kind of online when e-baking started to kind of come in the thought.
Yeah.
I'm a huge believer in entrepreneurs.
You are.
And the same thing.
You're very much an entrepreneur.
Yeah, and I mean,
we all are.
Right, you guys are too. And I used to work a regular job, and I quit that, devoted my whole life to running the stores and now expos. So I'm all in on this. I've been in it for a while. I also, just to comment on that, feel like it's a way safer and more secure living, in my opinion, than a job, because if you work in a job, you can get fired any single time. You don't control that. Versus as an entrepreneur, I can control, for the most part, except if like markets change or something happens. Of course. Maybe things die out. People don't want retro games anymore. I can't control that. Yeah. But I do feel way more in control and way more secure.
Yep.
Deciding my own fate.
And I think that is so big, and so many people need to hear that, is there's no freer feeling than knowing you can survive on your own. right? Like
1000%. It is so liberating. I almost call it like a metamorphosis when you quit your job and you let it go and you become an entrepreneur. It's a whole different way of life.
Yep.
It's a different way you feel about life, in my opinion, how it was for me. So yeah, I wouldn't change it.
And that's why not talking back down on.
No, never. I don't do that.
Not.
No,
yeah.
You know, people that work, and if you have a job, I mean, you might have the best job, you might have the worst job. You're still getting by. It is what it is. It might be fine for what you do, you know. But for me as an entrepreneur, I've never had a better experience than owning my own business. For me,
of course,
it's been awesome.
And yeah, I don't want to talk down ever on anybody's work ever, because you know I truly believe the quote unquote again real jobs out there are literally run the country. You know, electricians, foremen, linemen,
yes.
people are literally keeping our energy cycle going. Right? What would happen if we lost the people who run the electrical industry? Well, that's it. There's literally no other job. Your job would be out. My job would be out. YouTube wouldn't be a thing.
Yes.
It all requires power, energy, people building buildings, the men out there who are, you know, building with swinging hammers in the 40s, hanging by no wire. You know, I mean, those are, you know, so there's no hate on it. But yes, of course. And I think one thing that I have found very freeing about, you know, I do work a day job. And I like how I was talking really highly about electrician people because that's the industry I'm in. But at the same time, I do have, you know, I have my own successful business, my own corporations, all this stuff. I run it own. I will say that my level of income that I can earn is much, much, much higher and vast doing my own thing. Right?
It always is.
It's
not even close.
Because there is no limit to what I can make, right? And I say this with all respect in the world. When people say how much you make, I always say I don't want to go on that, but it's very successful now, and it's because I am willing to make that much money. Yeah. And I've told my wife even last year when the New Year's, what's your new goal? And I said, of course, you know, family, this and that. But as far as finances go, I want to make this number even more than I made, which is a good number, and I can do that because at my day job, I can't go, boss, but I really want you to get me there. He'd be like, I can't.
Yeah, and just one thing I would say in regards to it too is like when I left my job, I used to be a long time ago in commercial real estate. You can make a lot of money in commercial real estate. For me, why I wanted to own my own business and it was not so much the money, it was more about my time. I always felt when I was working for a company that I was
way to make me look bad. 10-minute speech about money. Just like family. I'm like, dang it.
That's essentially what businesses do. They buy your time.
Right. So when you're working, you're selling your time, right? If you're hourly or salary or whatever, you know, you're selling your time. And it's not that as an entrepreneur you don't work a lot. It's a ton of time.
Oh no,
it's all your time.
Dare I say
more time?
I will say this right now. My friends who, and I won't even call it names, very successful YouTubers. I am friends with people who have very successful day jobs, real jobs, very successful YouTubers. I will say that I know what both of those people are doing during their time. The people I know who are running their own businesses and doing the YouTube stuff are working nearly every minute of every day because they're determining how much money they can make. So there is no, I'm off. There's no such thing.
There's really, it never ends.
There is no I'm
For
off.
me, it never ends. It's just a matter of how much, when I want to turn it off and turn it on.
Exactly.
And that's the difference is if you're working a job and it's like, oh, you got to be there at 4 o'clock. You're not in control of that. You have to be there at 4. If today I was like, you know what, I'm just having a bad day. Like I don't want to work today or I'm not feeling right. I can just be like, I'm going to take a couple hours or I'll take the day off or whatever. That's what I always wanted, was just the control of my own time.
I had a guy, and I will not name names. I worked in a nuclear power plant. I was a nuclear business professional. And still in part of what I do now, there was a guy, and it was in our guidelines. This is just the power of not working for yourself. We were in a business meeting. In a meeting in a room like this, and we were having a conversation, a meeting. Guy fell asleep like this. I see my boss reach out, do a text. 2 minutes later, security with AK-47s walked in. That was your last day of work. You're out.
Jeez. Whoa.
That intense. Because it was such a high-profile job that everything is very discreet. Again, I've said it before, I had to swear on the Bible at that job, which is very weird because it's not like a Christian company or anything. But it was very like, these are the rules. He fell asleep. That was in the rule book. He's out.
Whoa.
Last day of work. Go home and tell your wife, sorry, I fell asleep for 2 minutes.
Yeah, that sucks.
Man, we should have made that a whole topic within itself. Anyway, I got time for one more.
Okay.
I think this is going to be a good one.
Let's hear it.
I would say, in quotations, a VHS rental store. What I really mean is a rental store could not last today.
Ooh, a strictly rental store.
Yeah, because I would say
like a
games.
Blockbuster.
Yeah, because I can't say VHS. I mean, who really, if it's just VHS, it's not going to last.
So a media rental store could not last in today's day and age.
Yes.
I will say a thumbs down. Ricky's got a
I'm
thumbs
with you.
down. Chris has got a thumbs up. Chris, why do you think it could not survive? Actually, let me hear from Ricky first.
Yeah.
Why do you think it wouldn't survive? I haven't heard you talking a little bit.
Wait, am I saying I didn't? It's not going to survive, or it is?
It would survive.
Okay.
That's you saying it would
Yeah.
survive.
So I think, if you go to GameStop right now, it's kind of what they do. If you think about it, right? I remember going there, and if you buy any used game, you can literally return it after you play it. So right now, it's actually working for them. I talked to the guys. They're like, dude, this is it works out pretty good. Like, we've been getting a lot of people, but in my head, I'm like, oh shoot! Now that you say it, they're not making any money. So let's
Ricky
change it
just
back.
switched it
Oh shoot!
on the spot. Well, if I have to vouch for that, then I'll say that I fully, going on our last conversation, I think that the right person with the right brain, the right skill set of ingenuity and thought process could come up with a way to be a successful rental store. I don't know what that is. I do not know, but it'd be like us being handed. I would like to think myself, I'll put us into it. I would like to think if someone handed us a rental store, us four in this room, and said, make it work, I would think that I would want to put enough pressure on ourselves to be the best freaking minds about this and think of a way of there's got to be a successful way to make this work. There's the pool noodle inventor is a multimillionaire. The scrub daddy inventor is a multimillionaire. You're rewriting something that's already existed. There's got to be something. I don't even know what it is.
I feel like, honestly, unless you're doing like renting out reproductions of like old retro games.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
You know what I mean? You're going to be hurting the condition of whatever was original. Then you're also going to have to put into the factor, well, what if they don't bring it back? Are you going to overcharge them for
Bro,
the value
late
of the
fees,
game?
dog. That's
Yeah.
what Blockbuster made all its money.
Yeah, well, I mean, look at where Blockbuster is now.
Dang it, bad example.
You know
But that's what I mean. Wrong person running improper decisions. I feel like there's ways. I want to hear from Chris.
Yes.
Sorry.
I think if I'm trying to think back to why it worked back then and doesn't work now, I guess the changing point was really when it was just access to so much media.
Yeah.
Like,
Now we have
why
that digitally.
Blockbuster went up because you could just watch all these things at home, right? Why did the Funko Lands of the world stop renting? I guess just because it was access to so many other ways to get it.
Got it.
I feel like if it would have worked today, somebody would have done it. But I haven't even seen anybody try, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a
I'm
single
shooting
business.
myself in the foot. There was one in Long Beach, maybe a year ago, and it just shut down.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was called
What were
the
they-
last rental store or something.
They were renting
Fixing
videos?
your mic for you.
But I mean, out here in LA, it is kind of strange that there are still some video rental places that do exist. So there was one recently in town. I don't know. They've slowly been fading.
Retro
away,
Rick,
though.
if you're listening, which I know you are, start up a rental VHS section in your store and prove everybody wrong.
Dang, yeah, just do a section of it. Just
Not
do
a bad idea.
VHS.
You
That
take that
actually
for your store if you want.
Maybe
Oh,
with
see?
VHS it would work.
Oh.
Success!
We just
Cue
made Chris a rental store.
The Smash Bros. Success.
You know what'd be cool with that though? If you can also rent a TV and an old VCR with it.
That would be cool.
That'd be pretty sick.
And you got to get the
Must be able to lift
cases,
350
open up
pounds
the
or more.
case.
It's
like, oh god.
I do feel if it could work with anything, it would be VHS.
Okay, I like
For
it.
whatever reason, I think that could work. But the games are too collectible and too high price. You're not
Repro.
gonna
I think
rent
his
out-
answer was right. Repro.
Yeah, you're not going to rent out a $400 game. You'll never see it again.
Yeah.
But with VHS, maybe.